Hey friends, and welcome to the Paparazzi Stars podcast. Here we chat about all things paparazzi. Tips, tricks, suggestions, and weekly challenges, all to help you grow and explode your paparazzi accessories business to rockstar success. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Paparazzi Stars podcast. My name is Anya Bohm, and I am your show host. Today we are going to be talking about overcoming frustration. Have you watched someone who joined paparazzi maybe about the same time you did, or maybe even a little bit later, and they've climbed up the ranks or started hitting achievements, ranks, and recognition before you do? Maybe you hear some of the elite interviews and feel frustrated because they've been in paparazzi as long as you have, or maybe even a shorter time, and you have not achieved the same things they have. You are not alone. In fact, a lot of consultants I talk to have the same frustration and the same feelings. Let's look at a few things you can do to overcome your frustration and put yourself in a better place mentally, which will also shift your mindset and possibly your business. Now, before we get into that, head on over to paparockstars.com/frustration. There, you're going to get all the show notes, which, trust me, you're going to want to snag them, a show image, which I will talk about in just 1 second, and you can respond to the weekly call challenge. So head on over there. Again, that's paparockstars.com/frustration. Okay. Now that show image I was just teasing you with a little bit, this one's a good one. And I think I've actually used it before, but it was too perfect not to use it again. It's a quote by Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite all-time speaker trainers. And he said, "Your attitude determines your altitude." That is perfectly aligned with what we're talking about today. It's got a beautiful woodland background. You can use that in your Facebook, in your Instagram, your Twitter, however you want to use that is there and it's ready for you to use. So again, you'll find it at paparockstars.com/frustration. Okay, let's jump into the training today. But quickly, before we do that, I just wanted to add a little disclaimer. So this is the disclaimer, not the training, the disclaimer before the training. I am not the happiness guru. I am not not perfect with any of the things listed in this particular training. In fact, I'm very far from it. The entire episode today actually came about because of my greatest moment of frustration. So please don't think that I'm going to judge you for having a low moment. Don't think that I'm perfect. These are just a few things that have helped me in the past and continue to help me today to overcome the moments of frustration that I have and doubt and discouragement. Now, to understand, let me tell you how this training came about. It's a little bit of a story, but I feel like it's important for you to hear where this is coming from. So November 2016, just a couple months ago, from the time this was recorded, it was a record-breaking month for paparazzi. We had so many consultants hitting rank, achieving life of the party, and crown clubs. We shattered records and blasted through expectations. I watched my team have the best month to date, but looking at our numbers, we were going to come short on my next rank. There was 4 days left in the month, and although I had a tiny bit of hope, deep down I knew it wasn't going to happen for me that month. Okay, for us. I was crushed, devastated. I cried several times during the day, and I tried to keep myself busy tidying up and playing with the kids and even running errands, but I knew that I was almost at a breaking point. I had to go pick up my son from an after-school club, and usually I took some kids with me to run into the school and grab him, or just to not leave as many home for my oldest daughter to watch. But today, I didn't want him to see me dissolve into this puddle that I knew was coming. So I told them that they couldn't come with me. They were kind of upset, but I was just like, nope, I have to go. I'm sorry, you can't come. I got in the car and I choked back a sob. I was going to be late if I didn't go. Plus, the kids in the house, they look out the window before I drive off, and they could still see me. So I pulled out of the driveway, and I continued down my street. As I was driving, I was pleading with God, and I said, God, I know that you can do all things. You made the earth. You made me. I know that you can make this happen for me if you want to. You know how much I want this, how hard I've worked for this. So many other consultants are reaching goals and shattering records. I want this so badly. There may have been like a why or a please or something else in there somewhere, but my thoughts were just so jumbled and I was just pleading and begging. Now, about this point, I'd come to a complete stop at a stop sign, and it was there that I lost it. All my reserves, all my composure. I was full on ugly crying, and I was glad that I was alone. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but as I continued to drive down the road, a simple, gentle peace came into my heart and it just kind of covered me. It wasn't an exact moment, it was more of a gradual feeling. I stopped crying and I heard the words come into my heart, "Now is not the time." The quiet love, the gentle peace stayed with me as I picked up my son and as I drove back home. Now, for weeks, I kept this personal experience to myself, partly because I'm not a crier. You guys would probably disagree listening to the podcast because I do cry. But the whole ugly crying thing, it didn't happen if no one else saw it. It's one of those, if a tree fell in the forest, no one was around to hear it thing. But partly also because I wasn't sure that not reaching my goals was something I wanted to share with other people. But about 6 weeks later, I was prompted several times to share my story on Facebook, to the point where the words that I needed to say came into my mind. I was shocked how many people struggle with the exact same feelings. Another prompting came just moments after I started reading the comments on my post, and it said, "Record this episode." Okay. Powerful to me just saying it, so I hope this episode is powerful to you as well. Okay, let's jump into the meat of the training. Just like when you are excited, when you are frustrated, your customers, your team members, and your potential team members can feel that frustration, even if you bury it down deep. Your social media posts might sound a hint desperate or even just sad. It's not a good way to run your business or your life. Instead, shifting your mindset into a more positive emotion like hope or excitement is something that will actually be more contagious. And with that more positive vibe will come more positive results. So the first thing that you can do when you're feeling discouraged or frustrated is to remember that your journey is not someone else's journey. God has given you your blessings, your trials, your accomplishments, and your setbacks for a reason. You might not know what that reason is or why you are where you are, but He does. The struggles and the joy come hand in hand, and I don't want to have the struggles other people have. Do you? Trust His timing and His plan for you and for your life. It's all going to work out. Second, what are the goals you have for your business? Are they something specific, like how many pieces you want to sell each month? Or are they something more general, like hit elite? Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a big goal like hitting elite, but I feel like you do need more of a path on how to get there, like a long-term goal with little short-term goals. One of my favorite books lately has been The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Now, Grant has just a way of putting things that speaks right to my heart, and it makes me feel like it makes me expect the best out of myself, which is a good thing. One of the daily habits he talks about in his book is writing his goals out every single day, first thing in the morning. He has a legal pad right by his bed, and the first thing he does is to write down his goals. This helps him stay focused on what he wants, and it makes his days more productive. Now, for me, when I'm getting discouraged or when I'm starting to feel frustrated, my goals, they feel more like a reminder of how far I have yet to go. But if I make myself write them down, and sometimes several times, I can feel that discouragement and that frustration melt away. It just kind of goes away. Hope gives way, and there is a light where before there was almost a sense of despair. Now, there is a podcast episode about goals and goal setting, so be sure and go and search that out on the website or on iTunes or on Stitcher. You can find it on there as well. Third, don't compare. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know that one of my favorite quotes is "Compare and Despair" by John Lee Dumas. I'm going to say it again because I love it that much. Compare and despair. This quote means that the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. Take steps to better yourself and to progress your journey daily. But don't compare your journey to someone else's journey. It's like we talked about in the very first tip. Focus on what you can control. You and your actions. Become the very best version of yourself, and also focus on bettering your business. Okay? Don't focus your attention on comparing. Focus on your business. Fourth, get outside of your comfort zone. Shifting what you are thinking about will also shift your mood. This was actually taught to me by a roommate I had in college. She was having a bad day, and she said to me, we're just laying on our bed listening to music, and she said to me, "We need to get fudgesicles." And I was like, "What?" I think she actually said creamies. It's a very specific brand of fudgesicles. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she grabbed me, and we ran to the store and grabbed a box of these fudgesicles and went over to some guys' apartments that were kind of close to where we lived. And they had 4 guys per apartment, and there was 2 of us. And guess what? There was 6 fudgesicles per box. So we walked around looking for, I don't even know what she looked for, to be honest. I don't remember if we knocked on the first door or several doors, but we did find some guys who let us in, and we shared fudgesicles with them and just talked. And then afterwards, she was like, "Now, didn't that make your day better?" And I was like, "Yeah, it kind of did." And even though I wasn't in a low place, she was, and it totally shifted her mood. So shifting what you are thinking will also shift your mood. If you're feeling discouraged or frustrated, find someone to give a piece of jewelry to, kind of like the fudgesicles. Give 5 compliments to strangers, or perform a random act of kindness, like going through the drive-thru at McDonald's or at Starbucks and paying for the person behind you. It's impossible to stay in a place of frustration when you're thinking of others. You just can't do it. Number 5, dance. Sounds like the weirdest one yet, right? But by getting your body moving, by actually physically moving, you are releasing energy, and you're changing up the energy that you're focusing on. Put on some music, get your body moving. Go for a walk, exercise, do some jumping jacks. Change your physical space. It works, I promise. You're going to think I'm a little crazy, but it works. 6, count your blessings. Now, this is something I even make my kids do when they're having a bad day. Name 30 things that you're thankful for, or just spend 5 minutes thinking of everything you possibly can that you're thankful for. Your frustration, it's going to melt away because you're focusing on things that are positive and that are happy in your life, like air. Air's a good thing. If you didn't have it, you couldn't breathe. You could be thankful for Paparazzi and how fast they ship out your orders. You could be thankful for the amazing, cute new jewelry that they release every day. There's just a couple to get you going. 7th, get to work. A lot of times when I get frustrated, it's because I realize that I should have been working much harder than I have been. And I get so frustrated with myself, and then I just blame it on others. Be honest, and if this is the kind of frustration you are feeling, get to work. Take action in your business and see what results you can accomplish if you work your business with consistency and with persistence. Now, having those goals, like we talked about a couple steps before, is really going to help you with that step. Because if you have a goal to sell 100 pieces a week and you're only at 12 and you're frustrated, you know what you got to do. You got to get your butt in gear and you got to sell more jewelry, right? So then you start brainstorming ways to do that. Okay, that's all there is for the training today. Let's jump to the challenge. Try out one of the methods listed above to overcome your frustration, or maybe you have something different that works for you. Come on over to the blog at paparockstars.com/frustration and comment and let us know what it is that you do to overcome your frustration. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Now go have a rockin' week. Bye-bye.